The cicadas were the first thing I noticed when I stepped out of the car. It was late afternoon, the sun hanging low and swollen in the Georgia sky, turning everything a dull, honeyed gold. The air was thick, humid in that suffocating, intimate way the South does best, and alive with sound. Cicadas screamed from every direction, a constant electric drone that filled the silence so completely it became its own kind of quiet. I stood there for a moment, keys in hand, just listening. It had been years since I'd been back. The house sat exactly as I remembered, low, wide, and tired. The paint had peeled further. The porch sagged a little more, but it was still unmistakably my grandfather's place. Set back from the road, half hidden behind a wall of trees, it felt less like a home and more like something the land had decided to keep. "You gonna stand there all day?" my mom called from the driver's seat. I blinked. "Yeah, sorry." "You've got 3 days," she said. "Get what you can. Lock it up when you're done." "I will." She hesitated, glancing past me at the house. "Don't stay up too late out here." I almost laughed. "It's not haunted, Mom." "I didn't say that." She forced a smile. "Just don't stay up too late." Then she was gone, tires crunching down the gravel road until the trees swallowed the sound. The cicadas filled the space she left behind. Inside, the house smelled like dust and old wood. It wasn't unpleasant, just forgotten. Light filtered through the thin curtains, casting everything in a dim, yellow haze. I spent the first few hours working. Boxes, old photos, stacks of newspapers my grandfather had insisted on keeping for reasons no one ever understood. The kind of work that kept your hands busy and your mind quiet. By the time the sun dipped below the trees, I was exhausted. I microwaved something vaguely edible, ate it standing at the counter, and stepped out onto the porch with a bottle of water. The air had cooled slightly. The cicadas hadn't. They screamed louder now, if anything. An overwhelming wall of sound that pressed in from all sides. I leaned against the railing, letting it wash over me. It was strange how something so loud could feel so normal, so constant, so expected. I checked my phone. 9:16 p.m. I remember that clearly, because at 9:17 the sound stopped. Not faded, not tapered off, stopped, all at once, like someone had flipped a switch. The silence that followed was immediate and absolute. It hit so hard, it made my ears ring, like I'd just stepped out of a loud concert into a vacuum. I froze. The world felt wrong. I waited. A few seconds, then a minute. Nothing. No cicadas, no frogs, no wind through the trees. Just silence. "Okay," I muttered. "That's weird." I told myself it was normal, some kind of natural cycle. Maybe they stopped at night. Maybe I just didn't remember. Still, I checked my phone again. 9:19. The sound didn't come back. Eventually, I went inside, locked the door, and told myself not to think about it. The second night, I was ready. I finished work earlier, made actual dinner, and sat on the porch again as the sun disappeared. The cicadas started up right on cue, filling the air with that same relentless noise. I watched the time. 9:15, 9:16. At 9:17, they stopped. Again. Instantly. Every single one. This time, I didn't move. I listened. The silence stretched. And then, a sound came from the tree line. Faint. Uneven. It took me a second to recognize it. Cicadas. But not like before. The rhythm was wrong. Too slow. Too spaced out. Each chirp distinct. Deliberate. Like something trying to imitate the sound instead of being it. I leaned forward, squinting into the darkness. The trees stood motionless, their outlines barely visible against the night sky. The sound came again, closer, not surrounding me like before. Directed, focused, like it knew where I was. A chill crawled up my spine. "Hello?" I called, immediately regretting it. The sound stopped. Silence again. Thick, heavy, waiting. I stood there for another minute before backing slowly into the house and locking the door. That night, I didn't sleep much. By the third day, I tried to rationalize it. Animals mimic sounds all the time, right? Birds, insects, hell, even some mammals. Maybe it was something like that. Something harmless. I kept busy, avoided thinking about the trees, avoided the porch. But when night came, I found myself drawn back outside anyway. Like I needed to prove something. The cicadas were louder than ever. I checked the time. 9:14, 9:15, 9:16. I held my breath. 9:17. Silence. But this time, it didn't stay quiet. The imitation started immediately, not from one place, from several, all around the house. The same broken rhythm, overlapping now, creating something almost, but not quite, like the real thing. I turned slowly, trying to pinpoint the sources. Left, right, behind the house. Closer, much closer. A sound came from directly beneath the porch. I froze. It was louder there, clearer, each chirp distinct and wet, like it was being forced through something that wasn't built to make it. My stomach dropped. I took a step back. The porch creaked. The sound beneath me stopped. Silence. Then, a single chirp, directly under my feet. I didn't think. I ran inside, slammed the door, and locked it. The house felt smaller that night, tighter, like the walls had shifted inward just slightly. The fourth day, I packed faster. I didn't care about sorting anymore. I threw things into boxes, sealed them, stacked them by the door. I kept glancing at the windows, at the tree line, at the porch. Everything looked normal, too normal. By evening, I told myself I wouldn't go outside. I'd stay in, ignore it, wait it out. At 9:17, the cicadas stopped. Even through the walls, I felt it. That sudden absence, that pressure. Then the imitation began, louder than before. Not just outside, inside. I froze in the kitchen, every muscle locking. The sound came from the hallway, from the living room, from the vents, each chirp echoing faintly, distorted by the walls. "No," I whispered. "No, no." Another chirp, from behind me. I turned slowly. The kitchen wall, right above the counter. Something shifted beneath the paint. Subtle bulge, like air trapped under the surface. It moved, slowly, tracing a path along the wall. And with each movement, chirp, chirp, chirp. I stumbled back, knocking into the table. The sound multiplied. Walls, ceiling, floor, all of them, moving, breathing, crawling, each accompanied by that same wrong, deliberate imitation. "It's not real," I said aloud. "It's not real." A crack split the wall, thin at first, then widening. Something pale pressed against it from the inside. Flattened, very struggling. The shape wasn't right. Too long, too jointed. It pulsed, as if trying to remember how to be solid. And then, it made the sound again. Perfect this time. A single, flawless cicada chirp, followed by dozens more, all around me, in sync. The real sound returned. I screamed and ran for the door. The chirping exploded behind me, deafening now, filling every inch of space. I fumbled with the lock, threw the door open, and stumbled onto the porch. Outside, the night was alive again. Cicadas screamed from every direction. Normal, natural, Unbroken. I gasped, turning back toward the house. The windows were dark, still, silent. Nothing moved inside. For a moment, I thought, maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe. At 9:18, the cicadas stopped again. All of them, except one, from inside the house. A single, perfect chirp. Then another, then dozens. And I realized, standing there in the suffocating silence, that whatever had learned the sound wasn't practicing anymore. It had gotten it right. And it wasn't staying in the walls. We weren't lost at first. That's the part I keep coming back to. The idea that there was a clear moment where things shifted, and we just didn't notice it. Mississippi back roads all looked the same after a while. Long stretches of asphalt, trees crowding in on both sides, the occasional mailbox leaning at an angle like it gave up years ago. We'd been driving for hours, cutting through rural roads to avoid traffic, half paying attention to directions that kept recalculating every few miles. "Take the next right," Eli read from his phone. "There is no next right," I said, slowing slightly. "There is," he insisted. "It's coming up." The road ahead was empty, just more trees. Then, suddenly, there it was, a narrow dirt road cutting into the woods. No sign, no markings, just a break in the tree line, like something had been peeled back. "That wasn't there," Jess said from the back seat. "It's on the map," Eli said quickly, though his voice wavered. I hesitated for half a second. Then I turned. The tires crunched against gravel, the sound loud in the sudden quiet. The moment we left the asphalt, it felt different. The air seemed thicker somehow, the light dimmer, even though the sun hadn't fully set yet. "Shortcut," Eli muttered. "Saves like 10 minutes. "Great," Jess said. "Love shortcuts." The road stretched ahead, long and straight, flanked by dense woods that pressed in closer than before. The trees here were older, their branches twisting together overhead, filtering the last of the daylight into a dull, greenish haze. We drove for a minute, then 2, then 5. "No turns?" I asked. Eli frowned at his phone. "It should connect back up soon." "Should?" "Yeah." Jess leaned forward. "This doesn't feel right." "It's fine," I said, though I didn't believe it. Up ahead, something appeared on the right side of the road. A house, small, weathered, sitting back just far enough to feel separate from the road, but close enough to be seen clearly. Its windows were dark. "See?" Eli said. "People live out here." The car passed it slowly. I glanced over. The front porch sagged slightly, the wood gray and splintered. A rocking chair sat near the door, unmoving, empty. We drove on. A few minutes later, another shape appeared ahead. Same side of the road, another house. This one looked familiar. "Did we just pass this?" Jess asked. "No," I said. "That's not possible." But as we got closer, my stomach tightened. The same sagging porch, the same rocking chair, the same dark windows. "Okay," Eli said. "That's weird." "You said this connects back to the main road," I snapped. "It does. I mean, it should." We passed the house again. This time, the rocking chair moved, just slightly. A slow, creaking sway. No wind. Jess let out a nervous laugh. "Nope, I don't like that." "Probably just..." Eli started, then stopped. "Just what?" she asked. He didn't answer. We kept driving. The trees seemed closer now, the branches overhead thicker, blocking out more of the sky. The light had dimmed faster than it should have. Up ahead, the house. Again. "Turn around," Jess said immediately. "I am," I said. I slowed the car, steering carefully as I made a tight, awkward turn on the narrow road. Gravel crunched loudly beneath us, echoing in the stillness. For a moment, we sat there, facing the way we came. "Okay," Eli said. "Okay, we just go back." I nodded and pressed the gas. We drove. 1 minute, 2, 3. The road stretched endlessly behind us. No intersection, no sign of the paved road, just trees, and then a house, on the left side this time. My grip tightened on the wheel. "No," Jess whispered. No. It was the same house. The porch, the chair, everything. But now, someone was sitting in it. I slowed without meaning to. "Don't stop," Eli said quickly. "Don't stop." I didn't, but I looked. The figure was still, slumped slightly forward, hands resting on its knees. As we passed, its head turned, slowly, too smoothly, to follow us. I caught a glimpse of its face, or where its face should have been. There was something there, but it wasn't right. Not arranged correctly, not finished. Jess screamed. "Just keep going!" Eli shouted. I pressed the gas harder. The car surged forward, the engine straining as the road seemed to resist us. "We need to get out of here," Jess said, her voice shaking. "We need to..." Another house appeared ahead, then another, all identical, all lining the road now, each with a porch, each with a chair, and each chair occupied. Figures sat in every single one, perfectly still, facing the road, waiting. "Oh my God," Eli whispered. As we drove past, their heads turned in unison, following us, one by one, a slow, synchronized motion. I couldn't breathe. "This isn't real," Jess said. "This isn't real." One of the figures stood. The movement was jerky, unnatural, like a puppet being pulled upward by invisible strings. Then another stood, and another. Soon, they were all standing, lining the road, watching us. "Faster," Eli said. "Go faster." "I am." The speedometer climbed, but the road didn't seem to change. The houses kept coming, stretching into the distance like a repeating pattern. One of the figures stepped off its porch, then another. They moved slowly at first, their limbs stiff and uncertain, then faster, closing the distance to the road. "They're coming closer," Jess said, her voice breaking. I swerved slightly as one stepped near the edge of the road, its head tilting at an unnatural angle. Its face, I saw it clearly this time. Features pressed into place like clay that hadn't set properly. Eyes too wide, mouth slightly off center. And yet, it was trying to smile. A loud thud hit the side of the car. Jess screamed. "Don't stop!" Eli yelled. I didn't. Another thud, then another. Hands, or something like hands, slapped against the windows, leaving faint smeared impressions that faded almost instantly. "They're trying to get in!" Jess cried. The road ahead narrowed. The trees pressed closer. The houses stopped. Just forest now. Dark, dense, and in the distance, an opening. Light. The paved road. "I see it!" I shouted. I pushed the car harder, the engine roaring as we sped toward the break in the trees. Behind us, the figures spilled into the road. Dozens of them. Moving faster now. Too fast. Their movements no longer stiff, but fluid. Wrong in a different way. Like they'd learned how to move by watching us. The car burst onto the asphalt. The sudden smoothness of the road felt unreal. I didn't slow down. Didn't look back. Not at first. When I finally did, there was nothing. No dirt road. No break in the trees. Just a solid wall of forest. Unbroken and still. Eli checked his phone with shaking hands. "The road," he whispered. "It's not here." "What do you mean?" It's not on the map. It never was. Jess stared out the back window. Those houses! I swallowed hard, because I realized something then. We hadn't been looping. The road hadn't been repeating. It had been building, adding more each time. More houses, more figures, learning, waiting. And if we'd stayed just a little longer, there would have been a house for us too. The church sat at the edge of town, like something that had been forgotten on purpose. It wasn't abandoned, not exactly. People still came on Sundays. The door still opened. Hymns still drifted out across the dry Alabama air. But the building itself felt older than the town around it, like it had been there first, and everything else had grown reluctantly around it. Behind it, past a patch of uneven grass and a leaning wooden fence, was the well. I noticed it on my second day there. "Don't go back there," my aunt said the moment she saw me looking out the kitchen window. "Nothing for you behind that church." "Why not?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "Because I said so." That should have been enough. It usually was. But there's something about being told not to do something, especially when no one will tell you why, that makes it impossible to let go. Later that evening, I asked my cousin Nate about it. "The well," he said, lowering his voice like someone might hear. "Yeah, don't mess with that." "You too," I laughed. "What is it, cursed or something?" He didn't smile. "People say stuff about it." "Like what?" He shrugged, but it felt forced. "Just noises. At night. Voices." "Voices," I repeated. "Yeah." He looked toward the window, even though we couldn't see the church from there. "Like someone's down there." I leaned back in my chair. "That's it. Probably just echo, animals, or—" "It says your name," he interrupted. That made me pause. "What?" "The voice," Nate said. "It doesn't just make noise. It calls you, like it knows you." I studied his face, waiting for the punchline. It never came. "Okay," I said slowly. "That's weird." "Yeah." He pushed his chair back. "So don't go back there." I went back there that night. I told myself I was just curious, that it was stupid not to check it out, that there had to be a logical explanation. The church was dark when I reached it, its windows black and empty. The air smelled like dust and dry grass, and the only sound was the faint hum of insects somewhere in the distance. The well sat exactly where I'd seen it earlier. Old, circular, made of stacked stone, worn smooth with age. A wooden cover rested loosely on top, warped and gray. It didn't look like much. Not cursed, not special, just old. I stepped closer. "Hello?" I called, immediately feeling ridiculous. My voice echoed faintly, swallowed by the open air. Nothing answered. I crouched down, gripping the edge of the cover. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I pushed it aside. The wood scraped against stone with a low, hollow sound. The opening beneath was pure black. Not dark, not shadowed. Black. Like the light just stopped. I leaned over slightly, peering in. "Hello?" I tried again. My voice dropped into the well and disappeared. A few seconds passed. Then, something shifted. Deep below. I froze. It wasn't loud, just a faint movement, like something adjusting itself after being disturbed. My heart started to race. "Probably an animal," I whispered. "A raccoon or something." I waited. Nothing else happened. After another minute, I slid the cover back into place and stood up. "See?" I muttered to myself. "Nothing." I turned and walked back toward the house, forcing myself not to look over my shoulder. That night, I had a dream. I was standing behind the church again, staring down into the well. Only this time, there was light. Not much, just enough to see something at the bottom. A shape, curled in on itself, breathing, slow, heavy. As I watched, it unfolded. Limbs stretching. Too long. Too many. Its head tilted upward. And even though I couldn't see its face, I knew it was looking at me. Then it spoke. My name. Soft. Familiar. I woke up sweating, my heart pounding. The room was dark, quiet, except for the soft hum of the AC. It's just a dream, I whispered. But even as I said it, I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't. The next night, I heard it. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when a sound drifted through the open window. Faint, distant. Hey! I sat up slowly. The sound came again. Come here. My stomach tightened. It was coming from outside, from the direction of the church. I swung my legs off the bed, moving to the window. The yard was empty, still, but the voice came again, clearer this time, softer, more familiar. Evan? My breath caught. That wasn't just a voice. It was my sister's voice. Exactly. Same tone, same cadence. But she wasn't here. She was back home, miles away. Evan, please. A chill ran down my spine. No, I whispered. No, that's not. Come here. The words weren't shouted. They didn't need to be. They pulled. Something inside me tightened, like a hook had caught and was slowly reeling me in. Before I realized what I was doing, I was already moving. Down the hallway, out the back door, across the yard, barefoot in the cool grass. The church loomed ahead, darker than everything around it. And behind it, the well. Evan! I stopped a few feet away. My chest rose and fell rapidly, my mind screaming at me to turn around. But the voice, it sounded scared, hurt, like she needed help. I'm here, I said, my voice shaking. Where are you? A pause. Then, down here. The wooden cover was slightly ajar. I didn't remember leaving it like that. I stepped closer, my hands trembling as I reached for it. Evan, it's so dark. I'm coming, I said, even though I didn't know what that meant. I pushed the cover aside. The darkness inside the well seemed deeper than before. Thicker, alive. I can't see you, I said. Lean closer. I hesitated. Then slowly, I bent down, peering into the black. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, something moved, fast. A pale shape surged upward from the depths, stopping just below the surface. I stumbled back with a gasp. What? It laughed. Not my sister's voice anymore. Something else. Something layered. Multiple tones, overlapping, twisting together. You came, it said. My heart slammed against my ribs. That's not funny, I said, backing away. That's not... We waited, it continued. The darkness inside the well shifted, rising slightly, like liquid filling a space. You heard us. I shook my head. No, I didn't. You will open it. I'm not. You already did. The words settled over me like something heavy, and I realized I had. The first night. I had opened it. Whatever was inside hadn't been calling before. It hadn't needed to, until now. The darkness inside the well rose higher, closer to the edge. You let us learn you. My throat went dry. Learn what? It paused. Then softly, it spoke again. This time in my voice. Perfect. Flawless. I'm here, it said. I turned and ran. I didn't stop until I was back inside. The door slammed shut and locked behind me. The voice didn't follow. Not that night. The next morning, I told my aunt I wanted to leave early. She didn't ask why, just nodded. As we drove out of town, I glanced back once. The church stood quiet, still, ordinary, But behind it, just for a second, I thought I saw movement near the well. Something standing there, watching, waiting, and I knew it wasn't trying to get out. It didn't need to, because eventually someone would come back. Someone curious, someone who wouldn't listen, and they would open it again, just like I did.